Hello everybody, I would like to thank you for coming to watch this online lecture. I really appreciate I was invited to do a duo and I have the opportunity to talk to you about immigration stress and mainly about its reduction. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Kateřina Mononen. I come from the Czech Republic. I'm a psychologist. I provide psychological counseling, stress reduction and short-term therapy in my private practice in Helsinki. And I have been living in Finland together with my family for 5 years. We have got 2 sons, 7 and 4 years old. So this topic is close to me professionally and also personally. The name of the lecture is Stress in Expatriate Spouses and its Reduction. The lecture consists of 3 parts. And at the beginning you can see the first part is stress in expatriate spouses. We speak about stress in general, we speak about potential stressors. In the second part we speak about stress reduction, and in the third part I will guide a short meditation because I would like to give you a tool how to reduce stress, and you could start actually straight away at home. So as you can imagine, the number of intercultural couples is quite high and it's growing worldwide all the time. I would like to demonstrate that on Erasmus Program. For those who do not come from European Union, I will shortly explain what Erasmus Program means. Erasmus Program is a European student exchange program that was established in 1987. And since 1987 up to 3 million of students and more than 350,000 of teachers participated in this program. Just to make a comparison, in 1992 only 150 students, foreign students, studied in Finland, but last year it was already 7,000 of foreign students who came to visit Finland during their studies, and it's a big difference. 27% of those students who studied abroad started during their studies a long-term relationship, and the European Committee estimates that up to 1 million babies have been born to those couples who met thanks to Erasmus Program. 1 million babies, it's really like big number, and if we count 2 babies per couple, that would be 500,000 of expatriate spouses who actually have to adapt to the new culture in the host country. There are quite many changes expatriate spouses have to adapt to in the host country. What can be the potential stressors in the host country? It can be climate. As you can imagine, especially in Finland, the Finnish winter is long and it's cold and dark and it lasts for many months, and it's not always easy, especially for those people who come from warmer countries or tropical climate. Another stressor can be landscape and environment. I would say that the environment is very nice for me in Finland because it has beautiful nature and many forests and lakes, and I especially love the sea because in the Czech Republic there is no sea, and I appreciate I am so close to sea even though it's cold, but sometimes it's possible to swim there in the summertime as well. Then another factor could be culture, especially for those who do not come from Europe. There might be bigger cultural difference, and Finnish people also seem to be more close. They show less emotions. It might seem to be more difficult to win their trust. Ethnic and racial differences. I would say that the Finnish population is ethnically quite homogeneous, and bigger diversity can be seen mostly in the bigger cities, in the capital Helsinki area and other bigger cities. Religion. Concerning the religion, 4 million or more, over 4 million of Finns belong to Lutheran Church, but I would say that Finns are quite open to other forms of religion as well. Language, it can be another potential stressor. There are 2 official languages in Finland. It's Finnish, which belongs to Uralic languages, and Swedish. Only 5% of population are actually Swedish native speakers. Language is quite difficult. There are many dialects in Finland, and most of the expatriates, they probably don't know any Finnish when they come to Finland, when they move to Finland, so they have to start learning the language from the beginning. Employment. The unemployment rate is at the moment quite high. I think it's around 9%, and it's not easy to find job only with English. Most of the positions required good knowledge of written and spoken Finnish language, and some of the positions also require good knowledge of spoken Swedish. But it depends on the field. Probably in IT field it might be slightly easier to find job in English. Another factor would be politics, society. I would only say that men and women are quite equal in Finland. Also, I would say Finland is one of the most equal countries concerning gender, and women are also in higher posts here in Finland, but women are still slightly less paid for the same positions than men. Socio-economic conditions and education. Not everyone's education is going to be recognized, or it might need sometimes additional education, especially if a person comes outside from Europe or outside from European Union. And the last factor would be the new way the country functions. These are the states of being during the adaptation cycle. I would say everyone who arrives to the host country goes through the adaptation cycle. Adaptation cycle might last for years or sometimes even lifetime. It's quite complicated. It can be painful, and because person compares his experiences, especially values and lifestyle from his home country with the experiences in the host country on a conscious or subconscious level. And during the adaptation cycle, which has got 3 stages, and actually I won't speak about the adaptation cycle in details now, but if you would like to study more about it, you can see in the references then a book from Pinni Crystal Andersson, a Swedish psychologist, who has written a book about immigrants, refugees and their children. So you can find there more information about the adaptation cycle. But during the adaptation cycle, person might experience different states of being or different feelings which might be very familiar to you and are familiar to me, as I am myself the expatriate spouse. Being a stranger and outsider, I think this is well known to all of us. Loneliness, missing and longing too. I think we are sometimes lonely, socially isolated, especially at the beginning of the adaptation cycle. We miss our family, we miss our friends, we miss our culture, the way we used to live in our home country. We might long even some special food, for example, something which we can get only in our home country. Feeling guilty, we might feel guilty because we left our parents in our home country and they are getting old, and we might question ourselves, okay, who is actually going to take care of them if we are not there and when they need it. It can be also shame, separation and loss, sorrow, language degradation. When we start learning Finnish, probably not everyone starts learning Finnish, but if you start learning Finnish and start using Finnish, especially before you master it, you will feel like you cannot express always yourself, and you might get frustrated that you don't understand. There are many dialects in Finland too, many slangs. So you might experience the language degradation. Value degradation, especially if the values in home countries are very different from the values of the host country. One can experience value degradation. All those states of being I have already mentioned might also lead to decreased self-confidence or self-esteem. And because we have built our identity since we were born, we might also sometimes feel like we actually miss our identity. We are not sure where we belong to. We are not sure who we are, because our social group, social network stayed in our home country. Our education perhaps is not recognized in the host country. We are struggling with finding a job, and all these might lead to feelings of non-identity. And also rootlessness, when we don't feel at home still in the host country, but maybe we have been living here for many years, and then we come to the home country. The home country also changed during the time when we were not there, so we might feel like we don't belong to our home country anymore, but we also don't belong to host country. If the adaptation cycle doesn't really succeed, I would say we might experience bitterness and other factors. Some of us can experience suspicion, prejudice and scapegoat syndrome. So it's very individual. Everyone will probably experience some of those states of being. When those states of being are long-term and untreated, unsolved, they might lead to severe conditions as depression, anxiety disorders, psychosomatic symptoms, insomnia. So it's better to do something about it. I would say that expatriates are also a very vulnerable group concerning physical health, and I would like to demonstrate that on the Common Cold study. Common Cold study was a study led by Dr. Sheldon in Pittsburgh between the years 1993 and 1996, and 273 volunteers participated in this study. They were exposed to a common cold virus. They got some drops to their nose of the virus, and it was found out that socially isolated people were actually 4 times more likely to develop illness. And socially isolated people in this study were concerned those people who had 3 or less relationship. The variety of the relationship were important, because we play in our lives different roles in our everyday lives. For example, a parent role, a co-worker, a friend, a husband. And if mom, for example, she lived with 3 children, this was counted only as one type of relationship. So the variety was important to stay healthy. So as you can imagine, expatriates have to deal with higher level of stress every day. And what is stress? Stress is a physical expression of our fight or flight survival mechanism. A frightening situation triggers a stress response, and it prepares us to confront or flee a possible danger. And this is good mechanism for some immediate danger, but unfortunately it's also triggered in some kind of tense situation. situations as heavy traffic, unreasonable boss, or financial troubles. There are two forms of stress: acute stress, which is short term, and chronic stress, that's long term. It appears when the acute stress continues. And the chronic stress is of course the cause of stress-related diseases. Acute stress. Acute stress is short-term response by the body's sympathetic nervous system. Adrenal glands, there are the little glands above our kidneys. They start producing catecholamine hormones, including adrenaline and non-adrenaline, and make changes in the body. What happens in the body? Blood sugar levels rises. Additional red blood cells are released to carry extra oxygen. Peripheral blood vessel constricts, pulse quickens, blood pressure rises, and digestion stops. And let's just say a few words about the chronic stress. As we said already, it occurs when the acute stress continues, and the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, they produce adrenocorticotropic hormone, which is called also stress hormone, and it stimulates adrenal glands to produce cortisol. For example, the levels of cortisol, they can also influence our sleeping cycle. And in the morning, the levels of cortisol are usually higher. That's what makes us wake up. And in the evening, they should be low, that we can fall asleep. But if this cycle is disturbed, then it can cause sleeping troubles, insomnia. Stress effects on the body of the chronic stress. As you can see in the diagram, chronic stress can contribute to atherosclerosis, can cause headaches, hypertension, sleeping troubles, depression, chronic fatigue, digestive disorders as diarrhea, constipation, acid reflux, and also skin disorders. So there are quite many. But I don't want to sound so pessimistic, so let's move to more optimistic part of the lecture, and it's stress reduction. What are the coping strategies for expatriates? I think it's learning more about the host country, learning about the traditions, learning about history, learning about the way the country functions. That's important because all this information will help to adapt to the new country. Learning local language I would also find quite important, because it can bring knowledge of the local language, can bring even deeper understanding of the host culture, and one can socialize, can communicate with the local people. Learning how to behave in the host country, finding a social group with similar life circumstances. We could mention Duo for Intercultural Families, for example, or there is International English Speaking Association of Finland. They also work on Facebook. There are Facebook groups, for example, Helsinki jobs finds, or something. I would have to give you the exact name actually. Helsinki jobs for expats. These are for people who are searching for a job in Finland, and they can share their experiences. Yeah. There are some other coping strategies. As the stress reliever is important, spouse support or friend support, regular physical exercise, and we could add to it also good sleep and proper diet. Recreational activities as watching movies, listening to music, yoga classes are nowadays quite favorite. Artistic activities, playing a musical instrument, painting, drawing, handcrafts. Those activities could be, for example, studied also together with other languages in Työväen Opisto in Helsinki. That's a good place to find many different courses. And practice of meditation and relaxation techniques. It's something I would like to speak about. Power of mind. Yeah, I'll go back still. The fact that our minds and bodies are interconnected is quite obvious, I think, nowadays, and even more obvious is that our body actually influences our mind. If you imagine that your body is in pain, you don't feel particularly happy about it, so it influences your mind straight away. But also our mind has an effect on our body, and I would like to demonstrate that on a lemon experiment. And now we can move to lemon. I've got, you can see the picture of lemon, and I have brought one lemon with me also, that you can imagine a lemon, and it's easier for you. So try to imagine a lemon. You can imagine a round, here, round, yellow, juicy lemon, as you can see here. You can imagine here that you are going to split it in half, and you're going to squeeze it and taste the lemon juice. Just drop few drops to your tongue and taste it. Imagine that. If it's easier, you can close your eyes and imagine the taste of the lemon juice on your tongue and what's happening actually. I can feel it now as I imagine that my saliva glands start immediately producing saliva. If you imagine it properly, it probably works. So you haven't even touched the lemon. I touched the lemon, but I haven't tasted, and it was just enough. This image worked for the saliva glands, so it affected my body. How to take care of our minds? I would say our minds are the most precious what we have, and we take just very little care of them. Just imagine that we are lost in thoughts 47% of the day, and that's nearly half a life. And our thoughts are often repetitive and negative. They consist of worries, complaints, judgments, fears, maybe plans. But the most precious moments we can actually experience when we are fully present, and those moments we also remember the most, and those are the most beautiful moments, lives worth living. Mindfulness comes originally from Buddhism, the idea of mindfulness. It was adapted to the Western way of living, and it was used, or it's used to reduce stress-related diseases, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, depression, anxiety disorders, sleeping troubles, and others. The founder of mindfulness-based stress reduction programs that are taught in United States maybe for last 30 years is Jon Kabat-Zinn, and Jon Kabat-Zinn define mindfulness as moment-to-moment non-judgmental awareness, or paying attention on purpose and non-judgmentally. That's another of his definitions. Those mindfulness-based stress reduction programs last for 8 weeks, and people learn there how to be more mindful. And the biggest tools is meditation, mindful yoga, and body awareness, which is called body scan. So now a few words about meditation. What is meditation? I would say meditation is focused attention, but let's see what the medical dictionary says about meditation. Meditation is a practice of concentrated focus upon a sound, object, visualization, the breath, movement, or attention itself in order to increase awareness of the present moment, reduce stress, promote relaxation, and enhance personal and spiritual growth. And I also like the definition by Antipadikont, and he says that most people assume that meditation is all about stopping thoughts, getting rid of emotions, somehow controlling the mind. But actually it is about stepping back, seeing the thought clearly, witnessing it coming and going. I would like to give you a tool how to reduce stress. Something that you could start straight at home and do it regularly. So I will shortly speak about meditation. If you decide to meditate, anyone can meditate. Each meditation is different, and if you decide to meditate, it's good to find some comfortable place at home when you can be in quiet for some time, and you don't need to sit with your crossed legs on the floor in lotus position. You can just use normal chair. You can sit on the chair with your back straight, that you don't fall asleep. I think this will help you to be awake. And it's better to meditate the same time. Usually mornings are the best, but if you don't have time in the morning, then any time is good enough. And you can meditate at the beginning just for 10 minutes. At the beginning, when you sit into the meditation posture, you can be aware of the feelings in your body, how you actually feel. You can feel the energy field of the body. You can notice your feet are touching the floor and your bottom is touching the chair. Those places you can get aware of the surrounding. You can listen to the sounds, and you can notice other sensual perceptions. You can notice how it smells in the room where you're sitting, or you can notice the touch of your clothes on the body, or what kind of taste you have in your mouth. You can notice your thoughts. You can just let them go. They come and go. You can notice what kind of emotional state you are in. You don't have to change anything, just to be honest to yourself. And you can notice your breathing. And again, you don't need to change it anyway. Like, you can just be watching your natural breathing. And to that, you can opt to one of those options. I made 4 options here for you. The first option is that you just simply continue watching your breathing rhythm. Or the second is that you use counting, because counting sometimes helps you to concentrate your mind. And you can count 2 different ways. So you can count from 1 to 10 after each out breath. So that means that you breathe in and out and you drop number 1. Then you breathe in and out, drop number 2. And this has calming effect. I must rush a little bit. We have enough time for the meditation. You can also count the other way, that you count before your in-breath, that you put the number 1, you breathe in and out, 2, in and out. It has got more energizing effect. Or you can visualize, and you can visualize some place you visited, or it can be just your imagination. You can visualize a sunny beach, or walking in a forest, some autumn day full of colors, anything that's nice to you, and it's more harmonizing for you. But because our time is running, let's start the meditation right now. It will be probably 10 minutes long. I'll try to do it 10 minutes. So as you sit in front of your computers, please find some comfortable position, but try to have your back straight. You can put your arms to your lap, And you can close your eyes. You don't have to always close your eyes, but it will help you to focus inwards. I will probably close my eyes too, and I'll just speak to you. So close your eyes, and you can just listen to what I'm going to say. So you can tune into your body. You can feel the places where your feet are touching the floor, and when your hands are touching your lap. Notice the inner energy field of your body. Notice your thumbs, your toes, and sensation in them, and move your attention to your feet, your ankles, your knees, sitting muscles, your pelvis, your back. You can start with the tailbone and move up to the lower back, rib cage, neck bones. You can focus your attention to the fingertips, your hands, wrists, elbows, arms and shoulders. You can relax your neck muscles, your chin, muscles around your eyes, eyelids, nose, chewing muscles, sides of your head, ears, and the skin of your head. Try to notice the emotional state you are in. Be honest to yourself. Just notice how it feels, how you are right now. Notice the sounds around you, sounds that come outside, far off the street, sounds that come from the room that you are in. Notice your thoughts, but let them go. And notice your breathing. And just breathe naturally as it is possible. You can just follow your breathing for a minute. You can notice how your abdomen and chest rises up and falls down, up and down. And how you can imagine that you are walking outside in the rain in a hot summer day. You can feel the raindrops on your skin, on your hair. Your clothes are getting wet, but it's very refreshing because it's so hot. You can listen the sound of the rain. You can even smell the rain. And perhaps you can take off your shoes and just feel the ground. Touch the ground with your feet, how it feels. Maybe you did it when you were little. You were just walking bare feet in the wet grass. How it feels. And maybe you can find a puddle and you can just walk into the puddle. The water is cool, but it's nice and refreshing. be in the rain for a while. Enjoy the rain. There is just you and the rain, nothing else. Now you can let the image disappear and you can come back into your physical feelings again, into your physical body. You can be aware of your surroundings and you can open your eyes and feel how it feels now. What is the difference? You should never finish the meditation fast. It's better to sit for a few minutes still and let the feelings subside. Now our time is running over and I would like to conclude. I would like to say that we cannot always change the circumstances of our lives, but we can change the way we experience them. Thank you for your attention.